Commissioner Egloff.
Okay, welcome all. We have several commissioners to join us yet. They were with us earlier for the executive session, so we anticipate them here this afternoon for the public meeting. But welcome all. Thank you for being here, and a special note of thanks to the commissioners for the work they do all month in furtherance of horse racing here in PA. So welcome all. And Dr. Egloff, I think you're with us now?
I am.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good to hear your voice. As I always do, just to note, the meeting has been properly advertised in accordance with the Sunshine Law. By way of notice, the commission conducted an executive session to engage in quasi-judicial deliberation to be adjudicated at the public meeting and engaged in attorney-client privileged communication. To make life a little easier for our stenographer, if you please, as you speak, for both commissioners and guests, to spell your name, commissioner to say your name, for those who are presenting to spell your name so we can get that accurately as well. And same goes for those who are online virtually, just to help facilitate the conversation. Okay. So with that, let's pick up with the agenda, which is the public meeting minutes. And you have before you the May 31st, 22 meeting minutes to approve. You've had a chance to look at them. I have a motion, please, to approve them.
So moved.
Mr. Ellis. Mr. Ellis on the motion, Dr. Egloff on the second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Same sign. Any abstention? Motion carries. Commissioner DeMunda, we see you.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, and you loom large here in the meeting. So we've got you. Thank you.
I'm headed off to a diet. I'll be back in an hour.
All right, don't go too far. For the June 28th, 2022, we're going to table those. Do I have a motion to table them, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Ellis. Do I have a second?
Second, Commissioner Lark.
Commissioner Rogers on the second. All those in favor of tabling the June 28th meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, on to presentations. We'll begin with the Racing Fund financial balances. Tracy? Again, just to remind all speakers to introduce yourself, spell your name, and make sure the green light is on.
Okay. Good afternoon, Secretary and Commissioners. I'm Tracy Gottwald, TRACEEGOTWALT. Okay, starting with the non-restricted fund balance as of June 30th. The beginning balance was $8,066,000. Revenue was $2,093,000. Expenditures was $313,000, bringing the ending cash balance to $9,846,000. Moving on to the Racehorse Commission, revenues expenditures for the month. Revenue for the month of June was $1,192,000. Personnel expenditures were $445,000. Operating expenditures were $66,000, bringing the total expenditures for the month to $511,000. Moving on to testing, for the month of June, revenue for the month was $901,000. Personnel costs were $359,000. Operating costs were negative $363,000, and that was because there was an invoice reversed during the month of June for payment issues, which I don't really know that I have them. I'm not sure if you know, Tom.
It was reversed because the UPenn contract expired in April, and they're trying to sort out what exactly applies to the 2021-22 fiscal year and what applies to the 22-23 fiscal year. So that's why they reversed it until they can resolve the issues.
So that expenditure will come back through in the next state fiscal year.
Well, is it included then in the
Encumbrances,
commitments?
yes. It would have been reinstated back into a commitment. So that brings
Tracy,
the
this is
total.
Commissioner DeBunda. I have a question for you.
Sure.
The fact that we have, am I correct that we are under budget on this amount? Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, is that partially because, I just realized it, is that partially because we split up the money that's left at the end of the year, 50% to the breeders and 50% to testing? Is that 50% to testing a factor in creating that positive result?
No. So for UPenn, we budget $4 million a year. The year-to-date expenditures were $3,300,000. So that is a separate line in itself.
I'm talking about the entire overall budget.
No, that,
No.
he's looking at the 78% there at the bottom of the total expenditures compared to the budget. No, that wouldn't have anything to do with the overpayment or whatever you call it last year. Am I correct, Tracy?
Correct. That
So we're-
78% does not include your commitments then, which exist at June 30th also. So
Right,
you
so-
have,
I'm just trying to find where the money that we are going to deal with again this year being split up between the breeders and the testing, where does that go?
Commissioner, let me try to help you out here. There's two pieces that end up in the testing program under what I would consider revenue. One is the weekly Racehorse trust fund transfers that are around 900,000. The other piece of revenue is from the preceding year, whatever the 50% of testing is part of that. So in other words,
That's
if
what I
you
was
go
asking.
back to the very first page under the state racing fund, you'll see Act 114 distribution, $4.5 million.
Yeah.
That's the carryover from 2021, correct, Tracy? For testing. So that's part of the revenue stream that comes in the following year. So when Tracy gets Commissioner DeBunda this year to the year-end distribution and carryover from 21-22 to 22-23, that number you'll see in the July statement, it'll be part of the Act 114 transfer.
It doesn't show as the revenue under testing, it shows as the revenue somewhere else. So the testing revenue shows $10,066,000 for the year.
yeah, that's the revenue. So you don't have a cash balance for the testing alone. You have the non-restricted cash balance, which is a component of 4 different items, which is the commission, testing, promotion, and revenue expenditures.
Okay,
So when you look at the 78% that you're seeing at the bottom of the page, that is 78% of the budgeted expenditures. And remember, when we budget the expenditures, we overstate them some because you're establishing a spending authority.
right, I'm aware of
So-
that. Okay,
Okay, so the 78% would be higher if you would add back in the additional dollars for UPenn. But we don't ever expect that to equal 100% because then we would have concerns with
understand
us. Okay,
I'm just, what I'm saying, as you know, every year we seem to have been lucky enough to have extra funds at the end of the year from the commission. And we split that up, and I'm just wondering where that split goes. And I think Tom tried to do that because you have that number in the on the first page of the report.
yes, correct. So if you look at it from that standpoint, you are getting Racehorse Development Fund transfers for testing at 10,066,000, which was capped out, and it's not a changing amount. That's an annual amount now. So the commission is also putting money towards the testing expenditures because they're exceeding that transfer amount. So it's the commission that's having the excess funding, which allows the distribution, which then goes back to 50% to offset testing costs, and the remainder being distributed to the breeders and the sire stakes.
Okay, right. All right, I think I understand. Thank you.
Any other questions before? Then moving on to promotion for the month. Again, there was a credit of a reversed invoice of 199,000. And again, that will probably come back in and be reprocessed.
There was an issue, no problem, but just in resolving some questions that revenue had. So it's reversed here. It is also part of the encumbered money moving forward. So the difference between, much like the 400,000, that'll be paid in the following month, but it's encumbered from the previous year's revenues, or surplus, excuse me.
Okay, then moving on to the comparative June 30th, 2022 to June 30th, 2021. Revenue is down 7%. Personnel is down 1%. Operating dollars are up 6%, bringing the total expenditures to an increase of 2%. Again, the largest contributor to that is the specialized service line was a negative amount. As you remember, we did a property allocation adjustment earlier in the year that racing was being charged way too much, and we did a reduction in that. So that's part of the negative. And then another part is the UPenn billing and contracted services that has to do with the payments going out for maintenance and repair. The remaining statements then are for the restricted funds. The last item I'd like to cover is the year-end distribution. The beginning cash balance as of July 1st, 2021 was $10,486,000. The Act 114 distribution, which occurred in July of 2021, was $4,556,000. Revenue was $22,305,000 for the year, and expenses were $8,389,000, bringing the ending cash balance to $9,846,000. The commitments, because we've moved to an accrual-based calculation, was $1,786,000, bringing that distribution amount's not correct. That should have been subtracted off of there. And I'm not sure why that wasn't caught. I apologize. It's in red. Do you see that, Tom?
It is subtracted. It's 9,895 less 1,785. So you ended up with 8 million.
It looks correct.
Yours might be wrong.
Is mine, do I have a wrong printout?
It's
I
correct.
apologize.
Yeah, I think yours is
Okay,
from
yes, I
Ohio.
have it.
I think you have the Ohio one.
Well, okay, so I apologize. I had the wrong printout. Thank you. It brings it down to 8,060,000 as a distribution. So the distribution to the breeders will be 2,015,000. Sire stakes is 2,015,000. And then 4,030,000 remains in that non-restricted fund to support testing costs for the 22-23 state fiscal year.
That's what I was asking, where's that 4 million go? And that's what that was what my earlier question was.
So the 4 million, the 4 million remains in the state racing fund, the non-restricted portion, which supports the commission, testing, promotion, and the Department of Revenue expenditures.
Okay.
So it remains in the state racing fund.
I think you answered that. Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Redheiser? You're okay? Okay, other questions or comments on the financials? Okay,
I apologize for
No.
that distribution error.
that's okay. Thanks for reassuring us. All right, no further questions on finances. Thank you, Tracy, for that. And
Ready?
yeah, Tom?
The next item on the agenda is the PHRA Marketing Research Report. As part of the PHRA's statewide campaign, they present a marketing research report for the last year. This commission has asked some pertinent questions, and Ms. Eisenbiel is here today to make a brief presentation and entertain your questions. Ashley, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. Ashley Eisenbiel, spelled Ashleyeisенbeil. And I also have Pete Peterson. He is on the call, so he might chime in as we go through. What we really wanted to share with you today is this winter, the PHRA contracted the Bravo Group to do some marketing research for us. This would be used for the marketing branding campaign for the statewide campaign that we've been working on for the past 4 years, along with to give to the stakeholders to use for their marketing efforts in each one of their regions. So you should each have a copy of the final report that the Bravo Group gave us, and I'm just going to go over some of the highlights that we received. So the overall goal for the research was to attract, develop, retain a diverse customer base that will sustain horse racing in Pennsylvania. The research methodology that was used for the marketing research was a landscape analysis, a statewide poll focusing on awareness, perception, gambling habits, motivations to also attend live racing, and we had around 1,000 respondents to the poll. Focus groups focused on probing deeper into those topics from the poll, and we did virtual focus groups in each one of the track locations, so there was a total of 6. We also conducted a customer survey that focused on the racetrack experience and motivations to attend live racing, and we had 207 respondents. Some of the points that I'd like to highlight in the research report is that 29% of the general public's respondents recall seeing, reading, or hearing a horse racing promotion. TV was the most popular channel, and about 58% of those participants that they remember seeing a TV promotion, followed by radio and social media at 19% each. I'd also like to share that some other activities highlighted in the report that the public would be attracted to coming to a racetrack is shared incentives, including bars, restaurants, breweries, wineries, music festivals, attractions, and auctions. The PHRA specific customer that is following us currently attends the track more regularly and like to see more betting coupons, more meet and greets, and behind the scenes at the racetrack. So the marketing efforts that we've done in 2001 drove positive awareness and familiarity with gains of 5% and 8%. There's a major opportunity among the general public to drive more awareness and education. 74% of the general public views the industry either unfavorably or neutrally, so we have an opportunity to change their mind and show them the side of racing that is exciting and a sport that is worthwhile to attend. We also have definitely seen a decrease since the pandemic in live racing attendance. Within 15 miles of the racetrack, 64% of the respondents hadn't attended a race in 5 years. So giving the public a special reason to come attend the racetrack is really where we need to put our focus to bring them back to the racetracks. Marketing opportunity, our goal again is to attract, develop, retain a diverse customer base that will sustain horse racing. Our objective is to reach new audiences through paid and earned media, build our digital audience, and convert new audiences into customers. Some of the key performance indicators that we look at is reaching new audiences through paid and earned media impressions and website impressions. Building out a digital audience through email contacts, social media followers, and returning website traffic. So people that have visited our website and have come back. And converting new audiences to customers by driving the foot traffic to the racetracks. So the audience personas that we identified through this research, I think this is really interesting because last time we did the research, we only came up with one persona. Obviously, we have a lot of messaging and a lot of different objectives. We want people to bet. We want people to come to the racetrack for family fun, and we also want people to just to be aware of our industry. So this time around with the marketing research, we have 4 key personas for the PHRA to design a marketing approach with specialized messaging for each of these. The core audience, this is mostly made up of industry favorables. They're highly active, age 55 plus, and they have a strong affinity for gambling events. Our growth audience 1 is our group that is made up of industry neutrals, 55 plus. They're light on gambling and interested in family fun and friendly activities. Our growth audience 2, this is a neutral, and they're neutral towards the industry. They are the millennial experience seekers, and they have an affinity for alcohol, easy social events, and an interest in horses. The niche group that we also identified is really interesting. It is the Gen Zs, 21 through 29, and these are industry neutrals, young thrill seekers. They also have an affinity for fun experiences, horses, and they love to get involved in a cause. So some of the recommendations the Bravo group has given us, since the horse racing is at a critical state now to hit the reset button, 3 of the main factors for attracting new audiences and retaining them is evaluate the sport and humanity. So we need to showcase our horse racing as motorized and the horses as talent, and that they are treated as such. For our re-engaging audiences, meet and greets with horses, trainers, owners, drivers, jockeys, and continuing with the full cams. To entice new audiences, telling the story of the sport, the impact, and the emotional level of that, and showcasing the industry and fans. Second would be position the horse racing as a social outing. So we need to re-engage our current audience with offering a betting coupon, returning customers, partner with the casinos on events to entice new audiences, feature restaurants, bars, breweries, to create points as well to capture emails so we can re-engage with them after they leave the track. We've also discussed, I know this is a touchy subject, adjusting the race schedule, but this was, something that was brought up in the research. Fans, current and new, express a desire for Saturday afternoon racing. So that is something that was highlighted in the recommendations as well. So the PHRA plans to meet with each of the tracks management to present this research and just share it with them. We'll also give them copies of the videos of the focus groups and see how we can help and support them with any events and additional experiences. So at this time, I'd like to say, would anyone have any questions about the research?
Ashley, thanks. Just looking at
Yeah, go
Pete on the
ahead.
screen. Anything, Pete, you want to add?
No, I
Please
think
take
Ashley
questions.
covered it. A lot of the focus was on, ways to improve the experience of individuals at the track when they go to. So it's, as you know, it's partly getting people out to the track, but then making sure that when they do go, they have a good experience as well. So that's why one of our focuses in the coming year is kind of more experiential marketing and helping to ensure that fans, as they go to events, have a good experience.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask then both Pete and Ashley in the future, in future presentations, if you would, you've talked about audience and fans and all that. I think we should start to think about attracting more owners and how you can help us with that part of our plan. So I would like you, not today, but obviously, I'm a fan of your work, and I think others here have expressed a concern about, we are trying to get more people to the track, but I've heard comments about whether or not we should be doing some programs to try to attract more owners, because without the owners, there is no racing. So I throw that out to you for the future consideration of the organization in their presentations and in talking to the various tracks and other horsemen's organizations.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Other questions, comments, observations?
Lastly, I just wanted to give a brief update. This spring, the PHRA also put out a RFP for the statewide branding campaign. We had been working with Pocono Communications for the past 4 years and felt that it was time to make sure we evaluated all of our vendors and we're getting some new eyes on it. So we got a lot of really great agencies, notable agencies to reply, and the committee came together in person in Harrisburg, conducted 5 interviews with the top agencies, and specifically with the scope of work, we just wanted to point out, because there was a couple small changes, and we can provide you with RFP and the presentations that were given to us. One of the things we highlighted this year was Spanish, reaching that Spanish audience. It was something that we didn't include in this research, but as I've been monitoring our social media and our website, I've received lots of Spanish inquiries. I think that is a great opportunity here in Pennsylvania, an audience to capitalize on. So along with the other parts of the RFP, we have added a Spanish segment to our goals this year, is to have our own Spanish social media pages. Our website already translates over to Spanish on every page, but also capitalize on some Spanish digital advertising. And we're working with Spanish Plus Media out of Chicago. They just work with doing this for companies, translating and helping reach those Hispanic markets. And they're fantastic, and they already went to New Mexico. The owner of the company has racehorses, and to learn all about horse racing in New Mexico. So it was great to see him take his entire staff out there. We've also partnered up with Cole Creative to work on the creative portion of the branding campaign. We've worked on things with them before with the how-to videos. They also work with a couple industry stakeholders, so they are familiar with horse racing and capturing those images that we will need. And then lastly, Our People Entertainment. They're an experiential marketing agency out of Philadelphia, and they were going to handle the media buying strategy and website maintenance, along with the experiential marketing that we plan on doing at the tracks, and then also off-site at non-racing events to engage with those new fans.
Yeah, please, Commissioner Brenthouse.
Daryl Brenizer, Breniser. I know you mentioned a lot about, and I think most of the discussion was about fans. You didn't mention anything about, I think the most important part is generating revenue. Is there more that could be done to emphasize that part of the marketing effort? Also, earlier this morning, one of the commissioners mentioned about focusing in on the younger generation. Younger, when I say younger, maybe even high school or even younger than that. Is there any thought about addressing those two avenues?
Yes. So this isn't our full marketing plan that will be submitted after today. Once again, we're going to focus on education. That is one of the things I'm most passionate about, is educating youth, because they are our new industry, and we need to invest in them. This year, we did a lot of stuff for education. We did virtual field trips at Cabin Creek Farm. We had over 300 students join us one day at different times. We got to meet a foal. They got to meet a horse dentist. They loved it. We got great feedback from them. We sent them the teachers' questionnaires. Afterwards, we sent them a whole little care package afterwards that had a bunch of different children's books about horse racing that we found. We've had inquiries about actually bringing the students next year to the farm. So we want to continue educating the youth, especially through the foal cams, because that really seems to be a great way to reach that younger generation. They seem very interested, and then then teaching them about the racing. But with the wagering, yes, it is always our goal to teach people about wagering. This past year, we did 5 more how-to videos on our YouTube page with Don Almuck and Danny Gibson to help people understand vertical wagering, horizontal wagering, how to pick a horse in a race for both harness and a separate one for thoroughbred. And they are one of our great tools that we utilize when we're out and about and people are learning how to wager. And I think, we need to step back now that we're getting back to the tracks now, working on getting those wager warriors out there on the apron for the big events. So once we get those new customers from these outside events to come to the racetracks, that we have people there to assist them on those big days with how to place a bet.
The other thing, today, I think we're going to look at the budget and I guess approve a budget for next year. As we approve that and for the year, would it be possible to come back to us after the budget is approved and give us a presentation based on what your plan is for next year?
Yeah.
A marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you.
And so other questions, comments? I mean, 2 things. One, a bit of a surprise in the public, where the public saw the promotion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Was expecting to see social media, right, as the top, and it's TV. I don't know who watches TV, but I mean, surprised by that, because that's not what I guess I thought the focus would be, or where I thought the promotional plan was focused around.
Well, we actually did streaming TV. It can be kind of costly to be on cable. So our budget lands us on streaming TV, which is great because you can actually really focus in on your audience, their likes, their dislikes. Digital like Hulu TV serves you ads of the things that you are interested in. So we were serving them ads about gambling. So they must have, either research that on their phone if they were on their phone streaming, or Big Brother's everywhere, just to say the least. So I feel like the targeting that streaming TV gives you now is an awesome investment. You get really the bang for your buck because you get to see how many people actually fully watched your 30-second ad to completion. And then you can also drive them either to your website or through a QR code, or you can have an interactive commercial where they have to pick something. Like if you've seen them on Hulu, like, you want to watch this ad or do you want to watch this ad? So you can engage with them through these digital streaming ads. It's the new age of TV.
And then his final question was, what do you do differently? Right, you've done this the last couple of years. I mean, is there something you've learned the last 3 or 4 that you say to Commissioner Brenheiser's point, here's what we're going to come back with? Any insight to the next plan?
So I think really having those new personas and multiple personas instead of just the one targeting that broad group. We've now been in the force for 4 years. So we have our retained customers and they need different messaging. As we can see, they're the betters. They love to come. They're the diehards. And we still need to appeal to them and give them content and messaging that they receive without alienating them. But also we need to have the messaging for the newcomers that appeals to them, that they don't feel alienated, that this is too complicated, or I don't understand, or is this even going to be fun if I go? And I think that's really important. And then we have, the family fun. We have to tell, it's not just about gambling. Your kids can come. We come learn about the industry, come learn about the foals, come learn about the jobs. So I think that's really what I've learned is how to grow our messaging and our campaign with several audiences than just focusing on one.
Ashley, are you planning the youth camp again this year, like you've done in the past?
Unfortunately, with staffing situations and commitments to be at the racetracks, we weren't able to do the youth camps, day camps this year. It's something I want to get back to, but we kind of lost somebody in the very beginning of the season, and it's been a hard go making sure we can get everything accomplished. But it is my biggest goal to get back to doing that. That's what I'm most passionate about, is youth education.
Okay, Ashley, thank you. Pete, thank you. We'll look forward to the follow-up presentation. So thank you. Okay. All right, Tom, on to marketing promotion.
The next item on the agenda is it's that time of year for the marketing and promotion fund allocation. Couple points. The calculated percentage to the grantees was based on gross terminal slot revenue wagering. This is an agreed upon method employed by the commission in previous percentage grant allocations. Nothing's changed. The 22-23 Racehorse Development Trust Fund transfer was $2,080,000. The transfer last year was a little over $1.8 million. We saw an increase of $240,000, or approximately 13%. In the calculations, there will be $100,000 allocated to the fair program, $5,000 a program. As you're aware, they spend the money on marketing and promotions. They turn in receipts and they get reimbursed. $20,000 is being retained by the commission as a marketing reserve, can be used at the farm show or support other programs that the commission would like to do. And then based on the notes above, with certain calculations, the remaining funds were allocated 50-50 between individual grantees and the statewide granting campaign. This is the method that was employed prior to COVID-19, and we're back to it. So that's the presentation, Mr. Chairman, and we'll get into more detail in the administrative action when I ask the commission to vote on the individual items.
Very good. Questions on the proposal that Tom's laid out? Okay. We're good? All right, no questions. Let's do the administrative action.
Respectfully, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to go through item by item and ask for a motion. And to start with, respectfully request a motion that the commission approve $100,000 to be allocated and distributed to the fair program.
So move, Commissioner Lark.
Second, Rogers.
Commissioner Lark on the motion, Commissioner Rogers on the second. Discussion of this motion to allocate $100,000 to the fair program. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the motion say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions?
Commissioner Brenheiser abstained.
One abstention, Commissioner Brennheiser. Motion carries. Thank you.
The next motion, Mr. Chairman, is to the commission, a motion to approve an allocation and distribution of $20,000 to the commission for promotion and marketing.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Do we have a motion to approve the allocation of $20,000 to the commission?
So moved.
Commissioner Ellis on the motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Michelle Ruddy.
Commissioner Ruddy, thank you. We have a second. Any discussion of this motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the motion, which is $20,000 to the commission, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
The next motion is to approve $96,653 to the Pennsylvania Horse Breeders Association.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have a motion to approve the Horse Breeders Association allocation?
So moved.
Commissioner Ellis on the motion, a second.
Second, Rogers.
Mr. Rogers on the second. Any discussion of this motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the allocation to the Horse Breeders Association, say aye.
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 Those,
Jones abstaining.
yep, those opposed?
This is Egloff. I think I'm supposed to abstain.
Dr. Egloff, I think you're good on this one. This is the Breeders Association.
Thoroughbreds.
Well,
Yep, but we do have one abstention, Commissioner Jones. Pardon me?
Haven't done vote yet.
all right.
Didn't vote yet.
I didn't vote. Did. All those in favor of this motion, say aye.
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 And those opposed, say aye. And those abstaining,
Aye.
aye. You got it. Transfer of learning. Perfect.
He wanted to abstain on the other one.
We're going to get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's trying.
Yeah, we're going to get there. We'll give him a chance to abstain.
The next item on the motions is to the Standardbred Breeders Association, an allocation and distribution of $66,750. A motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
So move, Rogers.
Commissioner Rogers on the
Second.
motion.
Second.
Commissioner Ellis on the second. Discussion of this motion. This is for the Standardbred Breeders Association allocation. Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. And any abstentions?
Egloff abstain.
Got it. Dr. Egloff, thank you. We've got you. One abstention, motion carries. Thank you.
The next motion is to the PTHA at Parks, an allocation of $289,808. A motion, please.
Thank you, Tom. Motion, please.
So moved.
Commissioner Ellis on the motion. Do we have a second? Commissioner Jones on the second. Discussion of the PTHA allocation. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions?
Sal DeBunda, Commissioner DeBunda abstains.
Duly noted. So one abstention, motion carries. Thank you.
The next item is the award to the PA-HBPA in the following two amounts. One for Presque Isle, $69,021, and the Penn National, $124,319. Motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Todd. We have a motion, please, to approve the allocation for the PA-HBPA.
So moved.
So moved,
Commissioner Ellis.
Commissioner Lark.
Mr. Ellis on the motion, Commissioner Lark on the second. Discussion. Hearing none, those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
The next motion is to the PHHA, and for Pocono Downs and Harris for Pocono Downs, $125,545. For Harris of Philadelphia, $99,570. A motion, please, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Tom. We have a motion, please, on the PHHA allocation.
So moved.
Commissioner Ellis on the motion, a second.
Second, Rogers.
Commissioner Rogers on the second. Any discussion of this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the PHHA allocation, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions?
Sennheiser.
Mr. Brennheiser abstains, duly noted. Motion carries. Thank you.
Egloff,
Sorry, too quick. So we have two abstentions. Commissioner
Right.
Brennheiser and Dr. Egloff. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
The next motion, Mr. Chair, is to the MSOA at the Meadows, an allocation and distribution in the amount of $108,556.
So moved,
Thank you.
Commissioner Lark.
Thank you, Tom. Commissioner Lark, thank you. On the motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And Commissioner Ellis on the second. Discussion of this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the allocation for the MSOA, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions?
Sennheiser.
Mr. Brennheiser on as an abstention. Duly noted, motion carries. Thank you.
The last item is for the statewide branding campaign, the 50% allocation to the PHRA in the amount of $980,222. A motion, sir, please.
Tom, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the PHRA allocation?
So moved.
Mr. Ellis on the motion, a second.
Second.
Commissioner Jones on the second. Discussion of this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the PHRA allocation, say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
The next administrative action is a motion to approve the simulcast calendars for August for the harness tracks, Harris, Philadelphia, Mohican Sun at Pocono Downs, and the Meadows. Motion respectfully.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Do we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Brennheiser on the motion. We have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Ellis on the second. Discussion of this motion, which is the simulcast calendars for the standardbred tracks. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
The next motion is to approve simulcast calendars for August 2022 for the thoroughbred tracks, Parks, Penn National, and Presque Isle Downs, respectfully.
Thank you, Tom. A motion, please.
So moved.
Commissioner Ellis on the motion, a second.
Second.
Commissioner DeBunda, thank you. And the second, discussion of this motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the simulcast calendars for the thoroughbred tracks, say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
The final administrative action is a motion to approve the Meadows request to eliminate the live racing day Saturday, September 10th, 2022, due to an on-track event, respectfully.
Thank you, John. Do we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Commissioner Ellis on the motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, thank you. On the second, any discussion of this motion, which is to eliminate?
Is that a day they're going to make up, or is that just a lost day?
They haven't asked to make it up. It was the horseman in the track was a mutual agreement, to drop the day. So
Any other questions, comments? If not, all those in favor of approving the motion, which is at the request of the Meadows to eliminate a live day of racing on September 10th. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Tony, we'll turn to you for industry reports. Thank you.
Commissioner, thank you. Tom, did you have anything you wanted to go to before I get to them?
Just a couple points. As far as out of competition goes, since the last commission meeting, we conducted 161 out of competition tests. Parks was 122. Presque Isle was 12. Pocono was 27. Just to tell you where we are year to date, for the first 6 months, we've conducted 695 out of competition tests. Parks is at 264, Penn National at 94, Presque Isle at 56, Pocono at 165, and the Meadows at 116. Basically, as the commission has instructed since COVID and getting back to normal, we've ramped up our efforts and we're probably a good 200 to 300 over what we did last year, but still 6 months to go. The second issue is there was the integrity hotline. March 1st through June 30th, we received 51 calls. Every investigated. There are 41 allegations that have been closed and cleared. 10 are still pending. Those allegations range at the thoroughbred tracks from unethical conduct by officials or horsemen, allegations of illegal devices, allegations of unethical treatment of horses, and some of the issues at the harness tracks were incorrect decisions, allegations of those, allegations of unethical conduct. And the point I want to make is just when we start these, they are allegations, nothing more. Do not assume that because someone calls, it's vetted, it's investigated to see if there in fact is any truth to the rumor. One other point I'd like to make, we issued a press release and it talked about the second quarter and about fatalities. Just as a comparative year over year, in 2021, we had about 30 fatalities in 2021. Fatalities year to date are down. They're down 17. Overall, the second quarter, I guess the important thing to remember is this commission here took steps back in March on the equine safety and welfare and instituted a series of procedures. Those procedures are bearing fruit. This commission and the staff is aware the only number that's acceptable is 0. And we're striving for that. We've seen over 50% reductions in the second quarter. And I mean, if you take a look at some of the things we've done, we have gotten the 3 racetracks, Parks, Penn National, and Presque Isle, to have an independent third-party analysis of the racetracks. Mick Peterson and his group did Parks and Penn National. The Dickinson group looked at PID. They came back with no issues at all. We've talked about increased oversight in the morning for the thoroughbreds, for workouts and monitoring. 8 horses, due to the vet's presence, were placed on the vet's list and deemed ineligible to race. As a result of the enhanced post-race, there's some criteria we upped. 17 horses were placed on a vet's list and 6 horses were retired from racing. And the last issue, if you remember, this commission instituted a rule where in 5 consecutive races, any horse that finishes 12 lengths or greater is now ineligible. 5 horses were deemed ineligible. The message here from the commission is they are concerned, this commission is concerned about integrity, equine health and welfare and safety, and have taken steps and will continue to take steps to address the issue. But we can see improvement moving along. That's all I have, Tom.
Any questions for Tom, comments? I think it's just to underscore, the highlights. We put out the release, and I think part of this discussion that we had early on was the transparency. of what the industry is doing, what are the concerns, how are we addressing those? So coupled with not only getting, I think, a structured program with accountability in it, it also is the transparency in telling the world sort of what it is we're doing, right? So a note of thanks to Tom and Tony and the commissioners, but also to the tracks and owners and others. So this is a result, I think, of making sure that we know ourselves sort of what the expectations are, right? What does good safety and welfare and health and concern look like, and being able to state that, but then monitor it, and begin to establish the baselines of time, story, of course. But I think most of important for all of us is given the last couple of years and the public perception, and it ties in a little bit into the marketing and promotion discussions, right? These things are all related. So having, I think, a good record, progress, doing the out of competition testing, holding folks accountable, and being clear about what our own sort of expectations are for both the stakeholders, but expectations of proper care and concern and welfare for the horses that are in the industry. So a note of thanks to all, and appreciate the updates, Tom. Thank you. Tony?
Okay, Mr. Chairman. Before I do the industry reports, I just want to give a, brief update on the fairs. We're getting into the heart of the fair season now with August coming. There's 9 fairs scheduled for the month of August. We've already gotten through 5 of them. We have a total of 21. The amount of entries are on par for where they were last year for the first 5 events that we've had. And so far, they've gone off without a hitch. And I hate to put Commissioner Lark on the spot, but if you'd like to comment on the Stoneboro Fair, Commissioner Lark.
Certainly. We had the 2-day event at Stoneboro 2 weeks ago, very successful. And of course, we're going to have the events at Stoneboro in conjunction with the fair around the Labor Day weekend. So we expect a good crowd. We need to do some promotion, but it's a big event and very well attended here locally. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Any questions on the fairs from anybody? Okay, we'll go to the industry reports. We'll start off with Scott Lisha from the Meadows, and like the chairman said, please state your name and spell it for the court stenographer's benefit. Go ahead, Scott.
Thank you, Tony. My name is Scott, last name Lisha, Lishia. I'm the director of racing here at the Meadows. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. First off, on the cancellation of the day, I just wanted to clarify. We traditionally have an event here called Corks and Kegs. It usually falls in the fall sometime. It is what it is. It's Corks and Kegs, and it's a food and beverage festival. We didn't have the date whenever I submitted last year, so it was going to fall somewhere in September, but we weren't sure. So we just scheduled the racing on each of the days, and then knew that whenever it was finally laid out, we would have to put a request in. So thank you very much for that. Very much appreciate it. We just recently this month opened our Barstool Sportsbook. It's been kind of in phases. We still have a little bit more work to do on it, but it's been very well received. It's a $7 million enhancement to the property, and it's incredible. And I encourage anyone, if they're out to this way, to please come and take a look and see and enjoy what it has to offer. That being said, early in the month, we had a rodeo here. It was Sunday, July 3rd, on track, set up, went very well. We had over 1,000 spectators in attendance, very well received, and was really a great event, and we hope to do more things like that as we can throughout the year, and moving forward. So everybody put a lot of hard work in, especially our track crew, getting everything accomplished. And it was a great event. Last weekend, we had the eliminations for the Adios, which will be coming up this Saturday. Got a great week of racing. We're very fortunate to have probably two of the best, if not the two best pacers in the country. They both each won their division, Beach Glass and Pebble Beach. So hopefully they'll be here and we'll have a full field for that day. We've got events planned on Saturday night, which I'm sure the MSOA, or on Friday night, excuse me, which I'm sure the MSOA will talk about. And then again, Saturday, our food and beverage staff has put together a drink. We're calling it the Orchid Elixir. So if anyone's here and would like to partake, please by all means tell me how they are. The state police are going to actually participate in the day's events as well. So we're very excited to have them come with their mounted unit. They'll have, the plan is to have 4 horses here and do some things Friday evening as well as Saturday for Adios. Ashley and the PHRC are also going to be in attendance supporting the event. We look forward to having them out here as well. So a lot of things going on, obviously, in the month of July, as we're almost finished. So thank you very much.
Okay, Scott, I guess tomorrow's the draw for the Adios, correct?
Yes,
Okay, good luck.
thank you very much.
Okay, Mike Zollinger from Pocono. Mike, are you on?
I am here, Tony. Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. That's Mike, M-I-K-E, Zollinger, Z-U-L-L-I-N-G-E-R. And things have been going pretty smoothly here at Pocono. We're preparing for our Sun Stakes Saturday, August 20th. Food trucks. Ashley will be here with her setup and the roadie ponies, they call them, for the kids, and face painting. Rachel's setting up the clubhouse for their people. So just looking overall for a great day. If you're in the area, out. Our party on the patios Thursday night's been going well. Just opened a new outdoor bar area that leads to the casino, so they're getting some exposure there. So things are going pretty well, knock on wood. The weather holds up. That's all, Tony. Thank you.
Mike, Commissioner Rogers, I have a question which a couple in the audience here are going to laugh at me, but I'll ask it anyway. When I watch the replays on your website, yours is the only one that I can't go full screen on. Every other track I watch, I can go full screen. Can you explain why that is?
I'd have to check with our Teleview people and find out on that for you.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. I'll look into it.
All right, thank you, Mike. Barry Brown from Harris. Barry, are you there?
I'm here, Tony. Thank you very much. Barry Brown, Director of Racing at Harris, Philadelphia, last name B-R-O-W-N. We are in the midst of our summer season, obviously, and for the balance of the summer, we're going to be continuing a 4-day-a-week racing season, and then obviously in the fall, that'll be the big change for us. From past years, we're going to switch to a 3-day season. That'll be right after Labor Day, and that'll be something that, we are doing in conjunction with the Horsemen's Association, the PHHA. Hopefully that increases handle, helps horse population, and that'll be something that we'll be keeping our eye on for how well that's going to fare. And then obviously in the fall, we are planning some night racing events as we historically have done. I'll have more to say on that probably at the next meeting as we continue with our marketing plans. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Joe Wilson from Parks. Joe?
Thanks,
Joe,
Tony. Yeah, thanks, Tony. I'm here. Joe Wilson, W-I-L-S-O-N. Finally got a break from the heat today, which is a good thing. And we're coming up next week. We have our Summer of Parks. So we have 3 days of racing with some enhanced purses. We then take a break for 2.5 weeks as we traditionally do. we come right back on the 22nd with PA Day at the races. I'm sure Brian is going to speak about that. And then on the 23rd is Smarty Jones Day. And we have 3 prep races for our big races on PA Derby Day. So it's the Smarty Jones, the Parks Dash, and the Catherine Sophia. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Eric Johnson from Penn National. Is Eric muted? You might be muted, Eric, so you might have to unmute. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
All right, very good. Not a whole lot to report, just a real quick recap on Camel and Ostrich Day. For those that may have been here, it was a huge turnout, probably one of the largest we've had. Every year as we do this day, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We actually had people parking in the grass up around the turn, so it was packed everywhere and great day. So had a lot of fun with it. The guys, the Camels and Ostriches put on a great show. And, you know, the other tracks out there, this is a really easy promotion to do. Cost a little bit of money, but worth every dime of it. Other than that, just want to Penn National celebrating its 50th anniversary coming up in the month of August. We will have our actual on-track celebration on August 19th. Have 4 stakes races there dedicated to the horsemen that are here or horses that have participated this year at Penn National and have not won a stake. So give them an opportunity to spin around a little bit. Pack giveaways, some contests with some cash giveaways, all kinds of fun stuff. That 50-cent hot dogs and $1 soft drinks, $2 beers. So if you're in the neighborhood, stop out, have a cheap dinner, and enjoy the fun.
All right, thanks, Eric. Matt Ennis from Presque Isle. Matt?
Yes, Matthew Ennis. Last name is spelled E-N-N-I-S. Things are going very well here at Presque Isle so far this season. Moving into August, we are reverting to a 3-day-a-week race card in attempt to compress our field sizes. Today we are running our hard spun stakes, breeder stakes, and yesterday was our Princess of Skymar stakes, which went very well, and we are wrapping up and coordinating our final HISA payment to get that behind us. So everything well at Presque Isle.
And thank you, Matt. Mr. Beagle, PHHA.
Everything seems to be going well at Pocono and Chester. We're moving right along. We've been lucky. We've had plenty of horses. We've not had an overflow, but we have enough. And thank to the amateur fellas, we're in good shape. And I wish all of you could come out on August 20th for Sun Stakes. And I'll show you the replays.
Mr. Beagle, could you spell your name for the record, please?
Beagle, B-E-E-G-L-E. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Kim Hankins, MSOA. Kim?
Hi, Tony. Hi, Direct Commissioners. Kim Hankins, K-I-M, Hankins. We're looking very much forward to this weekend. Obviously, our Adios is on Saturday, and Scott described that very well. But on Friday, we invite all of you to come out on Friday because we have a family fun night with all the face painters and stilts and balloon artists and all of that. We also, the MSOA has come to get a set of Dave Colon colors that were made specifically with the 20,000 win milestone embroidered into them. And we will be raffling that off on Friday also. We have 2 stakes on Friday, the Bob Key Memorial and the Ed Ryan Memorial. Bob Key was a major contributor to the entire industry as well as the Meadows, and Ed Ryan was a previous owner for many years of the Meadows, so we're honoring them with stakes named in their honor. The Meadows has graciously allowed us to use the VIP tent on Friday evening for owners, so invite everybody to come out for that. And also on Saturday, the MSOA will be giving away over $30,000 in tips to children of the MSOA members. Again, the graciousness of Mrs. Key, Bob's widow. She has dedicated $10,000 each year for the next 5 years to our scholarship program. So we will be able to give away $30,000 this year, and we look forward to a great weekend and invite everybody to come to the Adios.
Thank you, Kim. I know you and Scott and your staffs will be busy all week, and it's a great day of racing. And it sounds like Friday night will be too. So hopefully you'll have good weather and good racing luck. So
thank you.
Okay, Kim. Todd Mosteller. Todd, you on? Well, we'll come back to Todd. Jeff Matty. Jeff?
Thanks, Tony. This is Jeff Matty, M-A-T-T-Y. Just a few things, some that Joe alluded to. We're coming up on our 2-week break, and I'd just like to thank, the racing office. We have our Summer of Parks Monday through Wednesday, inflated purses anywhere from 25 to 45%, giving our horsemen, something to shoot for before we close down for 2 weeks. So I just want to give credit to Joe and to Dave Osajanek and even members of our staff here. So I think that was perfect timing before we head into our summer break. Many board members from the PTHA were up at Saratoga last week for the THA meetings, Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association meetings. We spent about 6 hours with HISA, with Lisa Lazarus. So our board members were able to ask the questions that have been on their minds for many weeks. We then put together a recap of that to pass out to our horsemen. And I just want to, take this time to thank Lisa and her entire staff that was there. They didn't necessarily have all the answers to every question we asked, but they were more than willing to get those answers for us in a very quick time. So I think they'll be the first to acknowledge that, they're also going down this new road, as are we. And I just think their professionalism and their workability with us and the other horsemen's groups has been second to none. Last few things. We talked with Joe Applebaum of NYRA. They're working on some wearable technology with Dr. Palmer up in New York. And what that is it's a device that goes in the girth, and they can establish throughout the course of a race whether this girth, this pinpoint, it's either green, yellow, or red. And they've come up with, if there's an incident in a race where a horse pings a red signal, 95% of those horses do not run back within 4 months. That's the severity of what happened during that race. So like I said, NYRA, they're about a year in with this program, and myself, along with Sal DeBunda, would like to be more active with them in that to see how we could possibly bring that to parks. And again, that's just the very early stages. Only NYRA's doing it for now. But again, we'd like to take an active approach and go down that path because the numbers that have come in thus far are pretty staggering. And then lastly, obviously, Pennsylvania Derby's fast approaching. We're going to have a cocktail hour the night before, which many of you will, all of you will get an invite to that. We'll work with Joe and Frontside on putting together a nice event prior to our biggest day of racing here. So that's about it, Tony. And I just want to thank everyone for their time and have a good rest of your day.
Jeff, this is Sal DeBunda. First of all, I want to acknowledge your 6-month anniversary. Thank you for staying. But I wanted you to talk about two things that are happening in October, which is the early part of it and the match series, and also what's happening with the THA later in October, if you would.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. As you all know, the match series is well underway. The last leg of the series was at Laurel. Luckily enough, we have had 2 park horses win those series with Butch Reed and Guadalupe Preciado. And we're going to be hosting Championship Day here on October 3rd. So working with David Richardson, Tom Lamara, obviously Sal, Joe Wilson, it's been great so far. The one concern we had was Parks' participation, our local horsemen, but they've showed an eagerness to go down to Laurel. I believe the next step is Colonial, so we'll see how many of our horsemen go there. But our horsemen have been active in it. We've encouraged that from the start, and we look forward to hosting Championship Day on October 3rd. And then we're going to be hosting the THA meetings. As I said, we were up at Saratoga last week for the summer meetings. We're hosting the fall meetings the 3rd week of October, October 26th to 28th. It will kick off with an aftercare meeting on the 26th, where other thoroughbred tracks and their aftercare programs will work alongside us. and turning for home to sort of bounce ideas off each other and to come up with best practices. It's been long overdue for a general full-blown meeting with those organizations, so we look forward to that. And then we'll go right into our THE meetings on Thursday and Friday. So we look forward to hosting, and we'll keep you guys in the loop on anything that comes up that would be relevant to any of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony?
Yep.
Tony, can I, this is Kim Hankins again.
Sure,
I
Kim.
would be remiss if I didn't announce, due to some legislative changes and also good budgeting here by the Meadows and the MSOA, we're going to be able to have a 10% purse increase on the first week of August through the end of the year. We're very happy to announce that. Our horsemen have had a tough go of it here for a while, and we're tickled to be able to do that in conjunction with the Meadows.
All right, thank you, Kim. Yeah, everybody likes more money, that's for sure. So,
Yeah.
and Jeff, just one thing on the Stride Right. I think it's Stride Right, it's called.
Correct.
That's very, very encouraging, and hopefully you guys get involved, and we encourage as many people that can to get behind it. I know it's in the early stages, but it's promising, and hopefully, it'll be a benefit for everybody.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I actually have a question. Does the commission at some point want Dr. Palmer to come down and give a presentation about that? Because I think we can arrange that.
I'm trying to remember. I think the answer is yes, right? But we had a sort of a plan when we heard the presentation initially, but I can't remember.
They weren't really that far along. The problem they were having is when they got a red flag, it's supposedly a red light. It said that there was a problem. It wasn't always accurate. They think they're further along now. So it may be, maybe in the fall, it might be a good time to start seeing what they're doing, because they're talking about pretty high success rates up in New York with that program.
Right.
So I'm just suggesting that maybe we want to have them come in, and I would have Dr. Palmer come, who's this major spokesperson for that, come down here and present before us at one of our meetings.
Certainly with teams, I mean, that can facilitate, maybe even an update, but we could talk that through, but it certainly fits with the equine safety program, right? So thank you. It's a good suggestion. We'll take a look at it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got two more yet. We got Jim or Mike Simpson. Are you guys there from the Standardbred Breeders?
This is Mike Simpson, Simpson. No report today.
Okay, thanks, Mike. And Brian Sanfratello, Thoroughbred Breeders. Brian?
Good afternoon, commissioners. I'm up at Presque Isle today. It's a beautiful day up here. As Matt Ennis had said, there are two stakes races, one yesterday and one today. So I've been having a great time up here, and glad I could stop up. The slot revenue transfers to the Breeders Fund. Year to date, we're up $436,000. The Mid-Atlantic Thoroughbred August newsletter is attached to the handout you received, and it shows the launching of the new 2-year-old Stallion Series for 2022. And also has a picture of the Stallion Series logo. As Joe Wilson said, PA Day at the Races coming up on August 22nd. We have 7 stakes races scheduled for that day and over $1 million in purses. We're going to have gifts that day, a great lunch. The NTRA was nice enough to donate another John Deere Gator for us to raffle off. We have some veterans coming in to present trophies during that day. So it should be a fantastic day. Also just wanted to mention that the 2 horses that won down in Laurel for the match series were both Pennsylvania breds, Chubwagon and Burren. Any questions?
Brian, could you just spell your last name for the court stenographer, please?
Yes, Sanfratello, Sanfratello, Brian with an I. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Mike, no public comment, right?
No, sir, no public comment.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I think that's it.
Okay, Tony, thank you. Again, thank you all for being here. Enjoy the summer. As we've heard the last, 10, 15 minutes with the industry updates, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of opportunity to participate. Good food, good events, right, all over the state. So take advantage of that. We have some activities, of course, at the fairs. As Tony noted, we're in that season, part of the season right now. So again, an opportunity, and we'll do the follow-up as we've discussed here around the marketing and promotion funds and plans for work plans and such. So we'll get that scheduled as well. So any final reminders? Okay, if not, just please note that the next scheduled meeting will be August 30th. I think we'll be back upstairs in 309 now that the incident command structure is moved out of there. So just keep that in mind, but it is August 30. Okay. With that, we'll take a motion to adjourn. Mr. Ellis, Mr. Jones, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, thank you. Stay safe. Thank you.